But Hara, I want to step back to the first conversation you and I really had. And you talked about this vision of every woman having a circle
Mm, yeah,
around them of different people that were mentors and advisors. Can you talk
yeah.
a little bit about that?
Sure, sure. I think I think every woman does have a circle,
Hmm.
you know,
Hmm.
but we often don't know it. We often don't recognize the role that all of those people play in our lives. And so many times, particularly young women, when I've been talking to them about what they might like to do on an internship or a job, I'll say, well, you know, Dawn, right? SB, right there. You know, Dawn, have you ever thought to reach out to her? Because I think boy, she'd really like to. And the answer I often get is, oh, I don't want to bother her. I wouldn't know what to say. I wouldn't want to be a burden. So not only do we not recognize that there are these people around us, I think the reason we don't recognize is we don't realize that those women, not always women, but those people in particular want to serve a role in our lives where they lift us up. And maybe that comes back to our feelings of doubt and self-worth and confidence and whoever you are, I don't know. But it is true that I have never talked to, and we're talking women right now, talk to a woman where we really sit down and talk about the people in her life, that it's not very clear that there is a circle there, but a circle that she has probably never recognized. And when we start to think about who those people are, they have individual roles and can serve to kind of uplift that person. So I think it's just more than finding people. I think they're there. It's just creating a construct so that you as a woman know I'm not alone in this. I am not. When I'm feeling self-doubt, these are the three people that I know I could go to. They won't be everybody in your circle, but there'll be some of them, right? When I'm looking for opportunities in my career, ooh, this one, oh, that would be a really good one. And convincing yourself that those mentors, informal, likely, really want to be that role in your life. I mean, I think often people thank me if I'm in a mentorship role, and then we spend all this time thinking about, I got so much more out of this than you did. It goes both ways, and recognizing that. So I love to picture a person in the middle with a circle of people around and like a double-ended arrows, right? Because there's benefit everywhere, but we have to know we're not alone, because the journey, whatever it is, whatever your journey is challenging, and it's not straight, and there are lots of bumps. And I know one person in my life now who, when he was part of my training as a president, he said this, and I always remember. He says, you get no credit for doing this alone. There's no extra credit for doing it alone. And he doesn't say a lot that's particularly valuable to me, but that one I thought, wow, that is so true. Like, why, when we have challenges, do we feel like we're in an island? We are not. And it's not just the people who love us. It is professional people who want to help you. All you have to do is reach out and go, hey, I was wondering if you might have time to talk to me about, and I will tell you, the answer will be yes. And that person will feel honored that you asked. So that's kind of what I picture, Teresa.
Yeah, and you touched on this earlier, but I think it's always the old adage, can we really have it all? And how do you balance life, work, the all? I mean, how do you do that? I know you touched on a little bit, but could you sort of dig into that
Yeah,
a little
I'll
bit for us?
try. Well, I think to answer the question honestly and simply, yes, I believe wholeheartedly you can have it all, whatever that means for
Hmm.
you.
Right.
So many times people think, if I take this leadership position, or if I, take this leap in my job, or whatever it is, that somehow that will make you less than in the rest of your life. I don't ever believe that to be the case. I mean, I do believe that you can have it all. And I hate, although I say that with air quotes, because I don't really know what the all is, right? I just don't. And it's always, I hate when I've thought to myself, or others have said to me, well, if I take this job, that I won't be able to be as good at ... Often it's related to the relationships in our lives. I won't be able to be as good of a mom, or I won't be able to be supportive to the people who need me. I believe very strongly that it's not true, that those people want you to be successful and that they will see you as the role model that you are. And they will always know that you love them. There's no question about that. That's what people ultimately want. They want to know that you love them, and has nothing to do with your job. You will always do that. So yeah, I think you can have it all. Is it complicated? It is. And for me, it all comes down to this just tremendous balance between work and life, which is a weird term, work-life balance, because that makes sense if you have life and then you have work and they're separate. But for many of us, you got life and you got work and they're kind of all over each other. So I think it complicates the concept of what does balance mean. I think it all comes down to really becoming in touch with yourself and finding out, am I caring for myself? Am I giving myself what I need? Because if you're not, you will not do well in your job, and you will not be able to give the people around you what they need. So to me, the secret really is self-care. And I have not mastered that, but you've already heard reference to many things that I try to do to uphold that: exercise, counseling, journaling, and just giving myself permission to just be. Every state we've ever lived in, I think, has given me something. This is related, I swear, like given me something. Minnesota has given me permission to enjoy. There is no state that I've ever lived in that embraces recreation, not just on a vacation, but like all the time. Like if you can go on the lake, go on the lake. You can go take a hike, go take a hike. Like it's part of life. That's been very helpful for me, finding a way to care for me. So I'm really grateful to Minnesota. It gets me one step closer to whatever that work-life balance thing is.
I hear you. I hear you on that for sure. There was just a question. Michelle, do you want to just sort of say your question, maybe dig in a little bit more?
Hara, it's been great listening to you, and I can relate to a lot of the things, even though I'm not in anywhere near close to that type of position, but there are so many overlapping similarities from all walks of life. What I find intriguing and where women are now in the workforce, especially with COVID, the work-life balance, I feel like the work-life balance has been established by the men who started the businesses. You were talking about the men, the glass ceiling and that sort of thing. And do you find that maybe COVID is reintroducing where that needs to be and kind of breaking that work-life separation now compared to before COVID?
Yeah, it's such an interesting question, Michelle, and thank you for asking it. And by the way, I think we all have tremendous similarities regardless of our position. I mean, the position doesn't matter. You know, I think the big question is, we know that COVID is a massive disruptor, but the question is, who will we become as a society afterwards, right? Mm-hmm. And I think there'll be many, many, many dissertations written down the road. But I think you're absolutely right. There are some silver linings. Never before in my career has it been acceptable to telework, as an example. Really. I mean, even 5 years ago, and I'll be honest about Central Lakes College, which is a wonderful place, by the way, a wonderful place. But I would have said, you know, we need people here on the ground. That's it. We got to be here for students. And that is still the case. But I would have thought that telework would do nothing but erode that. We now know that's not the case, and that people can do amazing work via telework, sometimes better work, and help us serve students. And it required something like COVID that forced us out of an archaic way of thinking. And now we embrace telework. I mean, we still need people on our campuses, of course, but I think that's been a real benefit to society. I mentioned my two eldest daughters. One of them has her master's in public health from the University of Minnesota. She just finished. And she is now working remotely, and she was looking for a fully remote position. Oh. And she has one, and she is amazing. But if you had vocalized that
Yeah.
5, 6 years ago and said, Emma, I'm just looking at Emma. Emma says, well, I'm really excited about my work. I really don't want to go into the office. I'd like to work remotely. People in positions like ours would have said, Emma, are you
Crazy.
kidding? Like, that's an unrealistic expectation. But now it's not only a realistic, but businesses are changing their model to embrace that always, because we want Emma. We want that talent, and it really has nothing to do with physical location. And it's been tremendously beneficial to businesses. Our hiring pools are deeper and wider. And I do think more and more people are thinking about, what do I want in a career? What kind of place do I want to work at? Not just the job I want, its salary and benefits, but what's the culture of where I want to work? And I think that comes back to the work-life balance. 10 years ago, if you had said, I want a culture that is family first and really helps me bring my whole self to my job, people would be like, oh, great, good for you, right? But now we are looking for people who want that. We are looking for people who are really embracing that balance and are comfortable bringing their whole selves, and to say, when we have an event, I want your kids here, like, come on. So I do think we are reframing what is normal and what that balance looks like, Michelle. It's going to take us a long time, because I think, I have a little concern that there are some companies and businesses that are just going to go back. And we are very vocal about the fact that that would be truly unwise. Unwise for employees, unwise for businesses. And I think the smartest, the strongest will redesign what it means to have that balance. And you're going to have employees that stay there longer. They're far more productive. I am very hopeful about that future. And this is a perfect example of that. While there was a time when we all would have condemned, what do you mean we're going to get together online? Man, I don't know about you, but I bet if we took a poll, about 80% of us would not be in the room if we did this in person, because we have busy lives. So this should stay as, something that helps us. It's beneficial. So anyway, it's a very long way to say, yes, I think there is great hope. I do.